There's just so many people are feeling disconnected and trying to force their way through life, force their way to success, force their way to the top, make it happen. Haven't we been falsely taught, make it happen?
Do you think that that's the one difference between dating? Like people say like, oh, does it feel different now that you're married? And we've been together for 7 years and knowing each other since we were 12. So no, there wasn't this like big difference and like some sparks that flew suddenly. The singular difference between being in a relationship with Jonathan versus being married to Jonathan has been that our focus has shifted to our people. Like I feel like you spend your time as a couple before getting married trying to figure out this thing you're building, like figure out this person, figure out who you are with this person, how can you do life with this person. Like you're so inwardly focused on each other, and then once you lock it down and get married, you do come together as a united front, as a union, and you shift your focus to the world around you, your community. Because I think you go through your 20s and you're like, are you my husband? Are you my husband? Are you my husband? You're like trying to figure out who you're going to do life with. And then it's like you find the person that you're going to do life with. They're in that role. And then it's like, who are we going to do life with? Mm-hmm. Who are we going to do life with? And Melody was the first friend that just plopped in front of us. I'm like, I want to do life with her. Like she's one of those soulmates. Like, and that's like that. I think that soulmates are plural. Like, I don't think it's all you get every need met in one being. I think it's like, man, I know I love Jonathan. I know he fulfills so many things for me, but he could never be my girlfriend. And like what Melody represented for me was similar. Like I feel like I've been having I have so many amazing girlfriends, but there was a void. There was a part of me that was not being tapped into or seen in any of my friendships. There was part of me, there was like this reservoir of goodness or stuff that if you can't see it, you can't access it. I want to give it. And I felt like an untapped resource. And then all of a sudden I've met Melody and it felt like we exist in this reservoir that only she has access to, that like makes me feel like a fish that's been out of water that finally got plopped into the ocean. Like it's just like, finally I found a friend of my heart that I've been seeking, and not even knowing I was seeking until I found her, and it is like another epic love story that's still unfolding and still in some ways in the beginning, but when you've met the person that's going to be a part of changing your life. And it doesn't just happen once. It doesn't just happen with your husband or with your wife or your romantic partner. It happens with your friends and your sisterhood and your brotherhood. And like that thing that you said early on, Julie, about like that third entity that you create between you, another person, and God. I believe that is so true of friendships as well.
I feel like a lot of this conversation is like breaking down like false distinctions, like that this love is wholly different from your friendship love, that like this is something, even if you have great friends and support and love there, that like, but you don't have this. It's like, no, that it's like, these are just different venues through which I believe we're called to show and share God's love. And that relationship with love that I had, and loving people better, that the like epiphany or whatever it was in that period of time for me was like, if I'm in somebody's life, what role am I called to play to help them get closer to God? Like that, and that is loving them. That's whatever it is, those are the actions I should take. So if it's being a friend, it's being a friend. If it's leaving them alone, then I gotta then leave them alone. For Elaine, it's like, it felt like the purpose here, the way that I can love her best was to marry her, to be her partner, to be there, to make a commitment to like this specific type of relationship. Yeah, just like I love seeing it. Like we're just seeing like love flow in this conversation, which is kind of it's the whole thing. It's the purpose of all of it. And these are all just little like different little venues through pods and venues through which.
Yes, I love that.
I believe that there's a soul and every friendship, every relationship has a soul, and it's separate from your soul. It's separate from their soul. It's a soul that you are co-creating or it just is, and you're existing in it, and it needs different things. And I love, like, you can feel when that soul is tormented, and when something's wrong with that soul, that union, there's something about that union that unsettles you, that makes you feel insecure, that shrinks you versus expanding you. And to be in a state of consciousness, to really be able to assess these different unions, or these different contracts that you've gotten into with different people, and to be able to choose the ones and only the ones that feel totally healthy and good for both of you, and to like really invest and nurture those. I mean, that's freedom. Like that to me, like that's adulting. That's like, and that is what I feel like we have with Melody, you know, it feels like that. Yeah.
The beautiful part of all of this is that it's always so mutual, right? There's two, it flows, it just flows. And I've learned so much from you guys. It's funny because Jonathan and Elaine called me before they got married, and they're like, okay, tell us about this. And they're like interviewing me, and I had just barely gotten married. And in the back of my head, I was like, they know so much more than I do. And it's like, you guys have no idea, but, you know, Flea and I learned so much from you just from being in your presence. And I see him taking cues from your relationship, whether it's consciously or unconsciously or subconsciously. And I do the same. And it's like, I'll see something and I'll be like, wow, that's how you do it. That's the process. Or that's how you work on that. Or that's what it takes to get there. And I don't know, it's like just by you guys existing in shared spaces with other people, whether it be just friends or couples, there's a certain kind of standard that you bear, um, that kind of is inspiring. It just like inspires everybody else to rise to that level. Like, oh, that's what it looks like. That's what love looks like. And so it's really beautiful.